What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chico Moya, so you are welcome here. Whenever it gets to this time of the year, I'm always reminded about the first time I moved here. A little over 4 years ago, it was around October, but I remember the weather was like it is outside. I remember leaving the Cape Town airport and it was sunny and bright and warm. Then I remember touching down in Finland and the weather looked like this. It looked kind of depressing, to be honest. And I remember wondering, what in the world am I doing here? Moving to Finland wasn't my dream. It wasn't something that I thought about and wanted to do. It's kind of weird that then you fast forward a couple years time, I went to visit Cape Town again. And it was really fun. It was really cool to see family and to be around sunshine a lot more and that kind of thing. Something weird happened to me. While I was in Cape Town, I could feel myself really wanting to come back home. Those were the thoughts that ran through my head, and home was here. Arriving back in Finland, and it was dark and gray like this, but it was my darkness and grayness. It felt good. I feel like I should have arrived and started singing "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend." As someone who's moved here and has started to make a life for himself, there are a few things I have to say that perhaps people don't know. And that is, it can be quite difficult to integrate in a country like Finland for several different reasons, right? The culture is just completely different to what most people are used to. It's a very different kind of society. I was really surprised when I came here that there weren't many programs that try to integrate people into this society. And I'm sure that could take many different forms. I moved here for a partner, so that was its own type of integration, right? Another thing that made integration a lot harder is the language. And I know most people will just say, hey, just learn the language. And it is true, but listen, it takes at least a year to learn a language. So during that entire time you're here, you don't know anything. I remember for weeks and weeks always going on Facebook, looking at all the events, things that could be happening that I could try be a part of and check out. But the vast majority of it was all in Finnish. The loneliness you feel here in the beginning can be quite real. I found that the only places for me to go to try and connect with people was bars. Finland is many things, but I don't think it's very great at creating nice big communities. And I'm not saying any of this to complain about it. I think it's just sometimes you just have to be honest about certain things. This is still a great place to live. Regardless of everything that is happening in the country politically, I'm still very optimistic. You can't do things like look at how people voted and try to draw harsh lines in the sand and say, oh no, those people voted for that government because they are racist or whatever. I think that's a very childish way of looking at things. From what I have seen, there is a lot of nuance in all of this. There was certain issues within immigration that do need to be sorted out. There does need to be a little bit more of a vetting system. I don't think the people who voted for that are just hate all immigration, you know? Like if you think in that way, that means you giving all your power away, because then what's the point of doing anything if you think just half the country is racist now? But are they? Is Finland suddenly racist now? No, it is not. And of course, I can only draw from my personal experience. But for now, I think that's quite all right. I know a lot of people who've immigrated to Finland for many different reasons. Most of them are doing incredibly well. Guys, if you're enjoying this video, can you please give this a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already? I would really appreciate it. A lot of the immigrants I know here own their own businesses, employing Finnish people. They're specialists, they're doctors, they're investors. A lot of people kind of get shocked when I talk about Finland and I say that I haven't experienced racism here because it's a predominantly white country. People simply expect me to be ostracized or for me to be walking around and people are looking at me all weirdly. But the Finnish people generally don't work like that. You know, they give you credit if you work hard and you do your thing. I think some of the issues that come with immigration are a lot more nuanced. When we talk about immigration, it's multifaceted. There's a lot of different types of immigrants. Because I get this feeling sometimes that some of the people online, and I know online is not real life, but some of the people who are against immigration seem to be speaking from this weird place where they think that most people who come to this country just come and leech off the government, when in fact that is not true. Most of them, I would say, actually come here to work. So you have different types. You have economic immigration, immigrate to another country in search of better job opportunities, higher wages, or start a business. Family immigration, student immigration, temporary and seasonal worker immigration, skilled, high-skilled immigration, investor immigration. Then you've also got humanitarian immigration. That's when people might come to a country because of natural disasters or medical emergencies or something like that. Then you've got refugee and asylum immigration, which is probably where a lot of the discussions revolve around. And I know most of you watching this probably understand this, but I just think that it can be really easy to demonize a group of people. I'll give you an example. Although I've grown up in South Africa most of my life, that wasn't where I was born. Myself and my family actually came from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and we actually had to refugee in South Africa. So I know how that whole experience is, because my dad used to work in a bank in the Congo, and he got to see what the government was doing, monetarily speaking, in the background. And he kind of blew the whistle on it a little bit, and we had to run away because we feared for our lives. And it took us about a whole year to travel to South Africa. Many things happened along the way. It was my parents and 5 kids. So because I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters, they were all pretty young. The oldest was around 12, 13, and I was the youngest at around 2 years old. And we arrived in South Africa in 1995, which was just after the apartheid regime. If you don't know what that is, that was during a time it was racially segregated by law. It was a time where black people couldn't go in certain areas, and all the different races were divided, and it was a crazy time. We arrived in South Africa with nothing but the clothes on our backs. The story is quite crazy because when we arrived, none of us could speak the language, any of the languages. We couldn't speak English either. We had nothing. To this day, I cannot believe that we all survived and we are all right now. As time went on in South Africa, and the economic situation in the country began to go down, do you know what happened? The people needed someone to demonize. You know who the group of people were? The immigrants. This was something that bubbled up for quite a while, and then it began to overflow into absolute barbaric violence. You had local South Africans who would go to immigrant-owned businesses. They would burn things down. They would attack people. They would kill people because they believed that the immigrants were the main source of all of their problems. Demonized an entire group of people who worked hard, who were just trying to feed their families. The only reason why I'm telling that story, it's more as a little bit of a warning in terms of beware of anyone who demonizes an entire group of people. Every time that has happened, it has turned into something crazy like the freaking Holocaust. I'm all for talking about all the nuance of things, talking very openly about how some refugees and immigrants perhaps are not being integrated well and are perhaps not moving past the aid that the government is giving them. I'm really all right having conversations like that. But once people just start grouping together a bunch of people and calling them names, that's when my ears kind of start getting a little bit itchy, you know. But the cool thing is, I know that most Finnish people are not like that. I have been living here for quite a while, and this country has treated me a lot better than even my own country has. I guess the point I'm trying to make in the entirety of this video is that let us not forget our humanity. We can talk about things and work through things politically, But when the time comes that you stop thinking of other people as humans and as people who are going through things, and once that starts happening, we are not in a good place. Let's definitely remember that. I'm very optimistic. I know that everything is going to work out. I believe in this country. I think it's a beautiful country. And although politics, especially online, make things look crazy, I think people in their day-to-day lives are actually pretty chill. They might have some concerns, but we can deal with those clinically and intelligently, not by demonizing a whole group of people. Thank you so much for watching this. Have a fantastic day, evening, or whenever you see this. You guys are awesome. Cheers. Bye.